any Alpha Draco that can breathe fire. Gamma Draconians, kind of about 30%. Most dragon species, not so much. Reptilian species, hardly ever. So let me see. Let me share screen. Yeah, here we go. So let's share here. So these are the Naga type. As you can see, like I said, they're very long. This is what you tend to see all over India, Laos, Cambodia, the statues and things they make will have that kind of a
Oh my
structure.
god, do you remember what he said when he said the various dragons? He said like red ones breathe fire, blue ones are ice, and then didn't he say like green ones have a great sense of humor? Do you remember that?
This is the Omicron Draco. So this is the Romulan Empire symbol, but it's exactly how they look. Their wings are broad, but they have this weird kind of hole in it with claws around the hole. And then their head sits in here and their eyes would be in here. So, and they typically do have a graduation in color where you see these colors that graduate from one side to the other, from usually dark blue to green is kind of or from black to red, for example. So sometimes you'll see the claws filled in, the holes in the wings will be filled in, but sometimes they're actually holes. So here you can see this is just warrior class.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So you have like this is a Alpha Draco kind of warrior class.
Why did a 6-year-old draw it? Look at the pencil lines, man. Warrior class / military.
Kind of typical warrior class. If we go to the Scythians.
Wait a minute. So they're all dragons are like this, and then one of them.
So that you have.
One of them's this.
Kind of typical warrior class. If we go to the Scythians, they look much more like the typical Chinese dragon, but they're also usually aquatic. So this is a typical Scythian, and they do have some wing, but they're also aquatic. They look kind of like the seahorse in the snout area. And so, and they will actually show you the area of the world they are in, pretty much what we call Ukraine. And a lot of Scythian structure in Crimea. Underneath, there's a lot of Scythian cities. And
they're in Ukraine. I thought they were in space. He had a 2023 Gene Decode copyright on the drawing, so he drew it.
There. So, this is a very typical Scythian kind of look. This one is similar. That would not all, because if they get extremely aquatic, they won't have the wings at all. It's like a flying fish kind of thing. It can get out of the water and fly, and it can also swim through the water. It's both an air breather and it has kind of like an inner gill structure, so it can breathe through that snout water. So you can, it breathes through there and goes in, and then it has the structure down the side where they excrete the water out. So, and then they have the wings still. So there's many various, gives you kind of an idea of a few of them there.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
What about, I was going to go back to something you said. How would a dragon help plants? I don't see a dragon being able to help a plant. How do they do that?
What they're able to do is they breathe out an energy structure, because if you go back to what Tesla said, everything is energy, which is frequency and vibration. So if you resonate, like you can actually get a copper staff and wind a copper wire around it and put a pyramidal like copper structure on top, and put that in your garden, and it'll actually help your plants grow significantly. The ancient Egyptians used to do that. There's all kinds of this technology. So the dragon, the green dragon, is actually able to exhale a vibrational energy resonant structure that helps plants to grow. It's why on Gamma Draconia, the typical tree is like it used to be on Earth, something a mile high, like you see the stumps of trees like Castle, what is it called? Devil's Tower in Colorado, Castle Rock in southern kind of Front Range Denver area, the big mile high steps all over the Amazon. They're actually the stumps of trees. There's, fossil, I think the website's Fossil University or something. It shows stumps of trees all over the world. And trees on Earth used to be that big until certain giant beings cut them all down. And so the trees on Gamma Draconia are like that. They're over a mile high. And a big part of it, of course, is because of the green dragons that are able to breathe and energize with them such that it nurtures and helps the tree grow.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't know the title was "And There Are Dragons." Wait,
so,
what did she say?
Oh, that's good. So
That's good.
To breathe and energize with them such that it nurtures and helps the tree grow.
Oh, that's good. So
Long pause.
what was the divine purpose of creating the dragons? I know we have different sections, but was there one specific overall reason for the dragons to be created by God?
Well, the Alpha Draco were created originally. They're called the Zoroastrians in actuality, like the religion. And their purpose was like the Akashic Records for Earth, but for the entire universe, to create and keep create a history, that would be passed down of all of the species in all of creation. And so what they actually wound up doing with that is, with knowledge, of course, comes power. And so they used it to create a powerful empire that was a conquering empire.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions they want to ask? One thing we were talking about was, I don't know what you can say about it, but what can you tell us about star seeds that were dragons here on Earth? Can you give us any little information on that?
So, like every species, there are beings within a species, or in some case, whole parts of a group, like the Mayans. They say that in the we're not doing that anymore.
What happened? Listen. This is so weird.
Of a group like the Mayans. Whole parts.
We're not doing that anymore. What's he talking about?
There are beings within a species, or in some case, whole parts of a group like the Mayans. They say that in the we're not doing that anymore. No, where did all the bodies and the bones go if that's true? You're in a perfect place. A tropical environment's a perfect place to create fossils.
That's such a funny time for it to cut out. Where did all the bodies go?
Place. A tropical environment's a perfect bones go if that's. We're not doing that. They say that in the we're not doing that anymore. No, where did all the bodies and the bones go if that's true? You're in a perfect place. A tropical environment.
He makes himself laugh like that all the time, doesn't he? Plum Pippion, thank you so much for the 42 months.
It's a perfect place to create fossils. there's almost no fossilized bone, human bone at all. They actually ascended. They raptured or ascended during the last cycle of ascension as an entire civilization. A few left behind that say we used to be the Mayans that walked out. Yeah,
I love how nobody was like, "Oh, we lost you there. Can you go back?" Because it, you know,
the ones that walked out because you didn't ascend. You couldn't run anything. You didn't have the knowledge to run it. You were not like, there's a lot of people at second density, humans that's still at second density, that aren't yet at third density. When the rapture occurs, they may go to third. Not likely, in most cases, they'll go to fourth and fifth density. And so they'll be left behind us as human race raptures. And then raptures, of course, negative and positive. In the case of the Alpha Draco, they raptured from third density to fourth and fifth density negative. In human terms, the rapture that's coming up is going to be predominantly the Great Awakening. Usually when a species calls it great, it means positive, which in service to God, which is the case. And so the Gamma Draconian and the species that have ascended beyond sixth density go to non-corporeality.
My God, when does the density stop? I thought it was some people are second density. They'll go up to third when the rapture comes, right? Maybe. Not all. And then he's like, and then other people are fourth, fifth density. And now he's just said there's sixth density. First I thought third was the limit, and then I thought it was 5.
You still have the energetic genetic structure within what you are. So if you come back, you can either ask God to come back or choose to come back in certain ways. If you ask to come back in service to God or something like that, or if you fall, when you come back into a corporeal body, the energetic genetic structure, even if it's a human baby, will imprint on the baby and change the genetic structure of the baby to some degree, sometimes vastly, and sometimes not so much. It's why the elite have the hybrid structure, the mankind or the bloodlines of Cain, where they mixed it with Alpha Draco, Neanderthal, Cro-Mag, Anunnaki, and a few other species, so that they would have a vessel for their species to come from fifth density down into third density into, because the genetic resonance at fifth density negative would destroy a human body. So they need something they can come into. So what they've been doing, for example, with the queen or king in the case of Victoria's Secret, she's a he, is they jump. The same being has been ruling through.
Which king? Is this guy famous? I suppose to some people. I don't know how I found him. What king? I thought you meant the King of England. But then King Queen Vic, that sounded like another rabbit hole. Bloody hell. Does he mean a dragon king? Queen Victoria was a male dragon hybrid. Oh, King Victoria, right. Then he said Victoria's Secret. Yeah, that threw me.
All of those, since the Norman the Conqueror conquered England, all of that time when the House of Winslow was actually took over and destroyed the House of Windsor and became the House of Windsor, all of that time it's been the same being. It didn't matter which king or which queen it was. Inside that body was the same being. So when the queen just died recently, the Alliance captured that being before it could leave, as it was leaving, and took it off Earth for crimes against humanity. And so,
come on,
leaving and took it off Earth for crimes against humanity. And so you have these, now on both sides, starseeds coming in for the battle between good and evil, essentially, or dark and light, or in service to God, or in service to fakes that call themselves gods. And so you've got this war in which when they come into a body, it's going to change the body to some degree. If you're in service and you're a good being and service to God, it doesn't change it a massive amount because you're resonant with a good person. But if you're a very, over thousands and millions of years, a very dark being that's been serviced to dark beings, you need a body, a corporeal unit, so to speak, is what they call them, corporeal unit, to fit into that won't burn up when you come. If it's like in the, what was that Netflix series? The two brothers are fighting all these nasty creatures, supernatural, in which the Lucifer Satan goes into a body, and the body literally starts to decompose because it can't withstand that level of evil, that level of decrepitation within the body.
Do you think he gets all of his stuff from shows? Did he learn that from that show?
Starts to literally disintegrate the body because disintegrate. You're not integrated with Creator. So you're disintegrating. So everything you go into and everything you touch just falls apart on you. So they make bodies that don't fall apart. Go ahead.
Why is that even funny, Gene? Why is that bit funny to him? I don't understand.
Don't fall apart. Touch just falls apart on you. So they make bodies that don't fall apart. Go ahead. Sorry, I have to laugh because it's just so ridiculous. I know it's not like a really fun thing to think about, but it's just, the seeds of evil. Its destruction is within it. The pure nature of evil is got its own seeds of destruction within it. And to see the ridiculousness of the idea that by controlling and manipulating and doing all this darkness, that you're actually just destroying yourself. It becomes at a certain point, at 8th density and above, you go,
oh my God, 8th density now.
Wow, that's incredibly ridiculous. And how stupid can you be? And, if you come to Christ, you can but man, you're going to have a long road to hoe to get back, to learn all of the stuff like the Alpha Draconians that went to Christ, all of the stuff they learned that they lost. They're like, wow, were we totally played. We thought we had all of this power and all of this stuff, and we were so played, it is beyond belief. So, they have to laugh at it too. They laugh. I've met a couple of them and they laugh to me about it. They go,
this is new. He just said he met a couple of them. Get Right with Jesus and Tyler Perry is a dragon show. Wait, sorry.
Who played it is and all of this power and all of this stuff, and we were so played, it is beyond belief. So, they have to laugh at it too. They laugh. I've met a couple of them and they laugh to me about it. They go, thanks for letting us know, but you're right. Sometimes you got to laugh at your own stupidity. Otherwise, you'll just be miserable and cry yourself to death. I go, yeah, you got to laugh at. We got to laugh at how stupid we can be sometimes.
That's funny.
Service to God. God has an infinite sense of humor, infinitely compassionate, and infinitely patient.
Mm-hmm. Very good. You can laugh all you want, Gene. This is good. Lemmy, do you have a question?
It just gets better. Like, I can't. We watched a bit of this before, and we got to a point, I think, where he said that green dragons have a great sense of humor, and that was enough for me. I can't believe it. I honestly, I've never heard anything like this.
Yeah, and I wanted to know, since the Gamma Draconians are so powerful beings, basically, how was it possible for the Alpha Draconians to cause so much damage upon them? Like, well, how did that war go in a little bit more detail, so we get to a better understanding
You
of
absolute geek, man. Talk us through that war so we get a better understanding.
the warfare techniques that have been used between the two dragon races?
Well, it's the same thing I've experienced in this lifetime with, within helping people in the last few years and the last 30 years of waking up. We just do not think as good people that love God and love Christ and love each other. And we just want to have our lives and love our families and raise our children and take care of our pets and our property, is enough for us. We don't need to hoard and have all kinds of everything you could ever possible want. I mean, I got a castle full of 400 rooms of junk you never get to ever see. 290, 390 of those rooms because you don't have time. What do you have all this junk for? So the average human being or the average...
He's talking about someone he knows, doesn't he? Do you think his brother is like really rich or something? That sounded very specific. 290 to 390 rooms. I mean, if I had 100 rooms, I don't think I'd have time to look in all of them.
Gamma Draconian never would have thought that beings could be that ruthless and that hoarding and that evil. You just think that people are good like you.
Oh, you think he's talking about royals? That would make more sense, I guess.
Who would think that you would eat and sacrifice and tear the hearts out
You're right. He's not answering the question. What about the war?
of your own? Who would think you would do or change their genetic structure, or torture them to death, or sacrifice your own to some being for power? Why? Why don't you help others? I mean, that's what the nature of humans and the nature of Gamma Draconians. Why don't you help others? Everybody helps everybody. Everybody gains. Would you rather have a whole bunch of people that love you and are, because you're all working together, you all have essentially an infinite amount of whatever you need. You got an infinite amount of food, an infinite amount of gold. There's so much of it. You can walk into a place and, if it's a place to get food, you walk in and a whole bunch of people run up and go, anything I can help you find? Over here. Could we help you kick that home? You're older, we'll help you carry that home. And so if you had, let's put it in just economic terms, would you rather have 10% tax on somebody who's a billionaire per year, they're making $1 billion a year, or 1% tax, or excuse me, 90%, like the US, 90% of tax on somebody who's making $20,000 a year? What's more? Economically, obviously, the smaller tax on somebody who's making a vast amount more. If everybody on earth were a billionaire, and you gave a 14.7% flat tax per year, that is a massively much more.
He's saying tax the rich, gene decode. Let him cook, yeah.
Income to support countries and cultures and cities and infrastructure than 87% tax on a whole bunch of people that have an average income of $35,000 a year. I mean, impoverishing people to feed off their misery is ludicrous.
The question was about, talk us through how this group of dragons were able to beat this really strong group of dragons. Because you said they're really strong, so how did that war go? What is he talking about? He's now talking about we should tax billionaires, which I really didn't expect.
This is what the Alpha Draco do, and it did not occur.
It's what the Alpha Draco do. All right, sorry. Just brought it back to that.
Conan, to literally feed off the misery of others, to create misery so you can feed off of it, because it's much more when people love you and care for you and tell you thank you and really love you as family and everybody. Gamma Draconians pretty much look at the species as their family. the entire species is family. And humans used to have that, and they lost it. And the Alpha Draconians forgot if they even ever had that, because they feed off of misery and suffering, because that's what the AI that they serve feeds off of. And so they've lost the entire point of existence itself. And when they just did not, when the Alpha Draco came, just like when they came to this world, the human race did not really think that a species would do that to their own child, to their own children, to their own kind, to others. That they could be that destructive and that horrifically evil, that they would do things to that level of just essentially beyond imagination. So the Gamma Draconians fell into that trap too, of not really perceiving these beings. It's like, my mom gave me a cartoon when I was young. It was the Mongol horde riding up to some little settlement in China or something. Hi, we're the government and we're here to help. Yeah. Hi, we're the Alpha Draconians and we're to help. Yeah. How are they here to help Gamma
What's he talking about, man?
Draconia, or the humanity on Earth? Enslave you and feed off everything that you are. Everything. And literally get to the point where you have nothing left at all. And then still keep going somehow on getting more off of you. So it's that trick of not understanding that evil can exist for its own sake. That it's just something that a Gamma Draconian or even a real human being cannot really comprehend. That a being can be doing things to you just for the fun of making you suffer. And
this definitely wasn't the question, right? We didn't like misunderstand, but this was nothing like this was asked at all, right?
Watching you and just taking glee in it. It's like, doesn't make any sense. No one would do that. Yeah, there are those that will do that. So that's how they fell into the war they had, and they realized and threw it off. Humanity still hasn't realized it overall. That's why they have to do what they're doing, in going. Some people are really upset it's taking so long. Humanity can wake up. Can they, without that, without a near-death experience? Not if you're that mind-controlled.
The dog avatar, well, that's Casey. I don't know who Casey is, but Gene Decode is our guy, which is this dog at the bottom.
If you've been mind-controlled for 1,000,000 years, more, 200, 300 million, your species has been mind-controlled. You don't even know what abundance is like anymore, of not needing a monetary system because there's so much abundance. You don't even understand it. So how can you wake up to the truth of who you are and what it's really like? Because what they're doing is giving you, the human race, and what they do to every planet they take over, is to slowly but surely garden your mind over to their mind of, I need to have for me and mine. And it's mine, like Nemo, mine, mine, mine. And to get that, I have to own. I own my spouse, I own my children, I own this, I own that. You cannot own something you did not create. There's only one creator. Therefore, the only one that owns anything is the creator of all, the one God of all creation. We don't own anything. We're given custodial duties. That's about it. So does that help explain it a little?
Yeah, thank you, Gene.
No, it didn't. I'm going to go back to his question. Yeah, thank you, Gene. What's this? 43. I'm going to hear his question again.
Evil. You just, if you had, let's put it in just economic terms, would you rather have?
Yeah,
Lemmy, do you have a question?
This is the question.
yeah, and I wanted to know, since the Gamma Draconians are so powerful beings, basically, how was it possible for the Alpha Draconians to cause so much damage upon them? Like, well, how did that war go in a little bit more detail, so we get to a better understanding of the warfare techniques that have been used between the two dragon races?
Did he answer any of that for a second? He 100% did not answer any of that question. And he took about 10 minutes.
And then kind of an evil type you'd see as they water down near Scotland to take ships.
Scotland!
Down. It's not she's was it? You'd have a lot of ships going down Dragon. They're kind, they're generous. If she's was it, you'd have a lot.
Or series that you can recommend that there are.
Question?
Duties, that's about it. We don't know is the creator of all. Dirty old a little.
There. Well, we all know that there's many messages hidden within our entertainment industry, Gene, and you've referenced this many times. I'm just wondering if there are any movies or series that you can recommend that show dragons in their true light. I mean, I think of Avatar and Pete's Dragon and The Hobbit and Dragonheart and one of my favorites.
Watch The Hobbit. It's very good.
One of my favorites has always been How to Train Your Dragon. I think it's cute.
That's
So
actually a good one. How to Train Your Dragon, and they show the different types again. It's fairly accurate, although they got them a little bit too stocky when they're stocky, a little too thin when they're thin, a little bit on the small side overall.
Oh
But
my
it's very-
god. He's talking about how accurate How to Train Your Dragon is.
Accurate. And then you've got, Puff the Magic Dragon song, you've got Peach Dragon. Lord of the Rings is kind of, what they call a drake or a fire dragon that is kind of an evil type. There are those types in there.
You can't predict where this is ever going to go with Gene Decode. I'm so glad. How did I find this? How is no one else on this? Like, how am I the only person watching Frankie Allen, doing Frankie Allen watch-alongs, and how am I the only one who seems to know Gene Decode? This is incredible.
And then you'd also have Braveheart, I think it is, that shows dragons pretty accurate. That a long time ago, humans actually helped together with dragons. And that there were people that were literally bonded to a dragon at birth. And then you've got a kind of a Scythian-like dragon that is a good dragon in Waterhorse, which is like Loch Ness Monster, Nessie as they call her. And
Oh
her
my
children,
god.
who's a good water type dragon.
He just said Nessie is a good water type dragon.
They're kind, they're
What about
generous. If
Spyro?
she's
Good. You should email him.
was it, you'd have a lot of ships going down near Scotland. That's not happening. She doesn't take ships down. So there are even still on Earth, very good dragons that are helping humanity
Squirrel.
that long, long ago used to work hand in hand with humans before they got a bad rap.
Basin Bros said they're too busy comedians buying fake reviews. We were talking about that earlier. It's a scandal at the Fringe, but anyway, this is more important, I think.
Excellent. Thank you
Well, they're
so
not
much.
buying fake, sort of.
Okay, one thing we wanted to know was why are dragons symbolism so much out there with the Cabal? Why are they latched onto dragons so much?
Because their overlords directly are the Alpha Draco. And because the Alpha Draco have such vast technology, and fifth and fourth density primarily when they came here. They're interdimensional capable. They can do all kinds of things. They have ability to, fifth density, have the ability to manifest through the mind. So you can literally manifest something. You can walk through into a solid rock and disappear. You can manifest food for people, or you can manifest pain and suffering and death and plagues. So they became very enamored with them and worshiped them. And so a lot of the beings worshipped represent the Alpha Draco themselves, because they were worshipped. And there were times with various fallen angelics where it's even confused to whom is whom, where you have within the Alpha Draco that were possessed by fallen angelics. So in some of the top Alpha Draco, they are actually some of the top fallen angels as well within them, just like they've been jumping from body to body for the leadership of the British Empire. These fallen angelics have been jumping from.
I like how the question was, do you know any good dragon movies to watch? That was the question. Well, before.
From body to body within the Alpha Draco. And so some of the beings that people think are a fallen angelic, they're confused. Is it a reptile? It's both. Oh. It's a reptile that has, with a fallen angelic, that when that body dies, they jump to the next offspring of that one. The offspring will be breeded for that precise reason. For that being, is that Draco is getting old, that Alpha Draco is getting old, it'll breed a child that'll be the perfect host, so that fallen angelic can jump into that body. So there's certain beings that most people think is a reptile that was in the garden, for example. And they say, well, no, that's a reptile. It's a snake. No, it's a fallen angelic.
What?
No, it's both. And this is the case with most things that you see. People, human beings, and Gamma Draconians, same thing, tend to look at things as white and black. And it's not always. It's almost always all of the above is the correct answer. So if you see, for example, was this certain event?
Queen Victoria. Did it start with Queen Victoria, by the way? Was that the beginning of our royal family? Or so he said that they take, what was it? A dragon possesses the king or queen, but leaves the body of the previous one. And don't they get punished or something? King, Queen Victoria. What did that mean? King Victor, what did that mean? Is there a separate conspiracy theory that Queen Victoria was a man?
Done, like, let's take 911. Was it done by pyrotechnics?
Yeah, like the Slitheen in Doctor Who. I don't know Doctor Who, but you should really get in touch with Gene Deco. He would love Doctor Who.
Technics, C4, or was it done by nanothermite, or was it done by the trumpet, which is a directed energy weapon that flows down the ley lines like.
Oh no, not.
I'm Pierce Corbin.
No. What? No. Queen Victoria was a man. It doesn't. There's nothing. Was Queen Elizabeth first a man?
Like Jericho, where they go make a tone and it flows down the ley lines, and where they all come together, which just happened to be where they built the buildings, just so coincidentally happened to be there, makes it able to pull the building down. Was it this? Was it that? It was all of the above. All of the above are true. So, you tend to think, okay, it's this or this or this. It's not or. It's this and this and this and this. So it's not a reptile or a fallen angelic. It's a reptile and a fallen angelic.
Oh, man.
And then it may later on be a dragon moth. It may later be on a feathered serpent named Quetzalcoatl. It may later be a bullish kind of creature, kind of like the Minotaur.
So I'm not going to do transvestigation, don't worry.
It may be this, it may be that. It jumps.
I was checking if that is a conspiracy theory, but it doesn't seem like it.
That's what it does. So you look at the back of the dollar bill and there's 72 stones for one fallen angelic because it's been jumping 72 times in the history of humanity. It's had different avatars. It's taken over. So it's saying, is it this? Is it that? It's all of them. So if you're sacrificing to Baal or Moloch, for example, Gobekli Tepe, they know exactly how, or Moloch, for example, it's all of them. So if you're sacrificing to Baal or Moloch, for example, Gobekli Tepe, they know exactly how old it is because when it was conquered, because it was like Sodom and Gomorrah, it was, find me, God goes, if you find one person that's good, you don't have to kill them all. Not one. So they, killed them all because they were sacrificing to the same being's children again from all the surrounding area, just like they were doing on Jekyll Island, the Dan tribe. They went to Jekyll.
I don't know, man. Not a single one. Look at the open. Is this the one? No, look at the opening to this video. I think this is the one.
Like 3 computers and
Watch this.
all right. So welcome to the show.
And then it's this.
Here we are again with Gene Decode. Hello, Gene. How are you?
I'm doing well, James. How are you doing?
It's always the dog. I always looks like the dog's talk. That's how that dog would sound. This is how all streamers get ready. I should just steal that intro. Doesn't live up to the intro. It's just this. Just this guy and a picture of the dog talking. This is about underground bases. It's quite boring. He does a full presentation in this one. Look, he's got all of what's a jump gate.
A wormhole, mini wormhole field. You also have large wormholes, which are called quasars and black holes, where a black hole is a collapsing star.
Won the Civil War. Well, it wasn't really one. It's more of a stalemate. So both of them.
I don't know. I don't know how Gene Decode, Ukraine Truth and History, Dumbs Intel, Crucifixion, AI NPCs, Timelines, Dumbs, Soul Traps, Black Sun, DNA. Oh, who are these two, man? Is that like a caravan or a trailer?
Welcome to Truth Stream. Once again, we are here with Gene Decode, and
Their sole emotion is, I want more power. I want more money. I want that country.
that film in, I don't know if it was halfway or whatever, and they shifted some of the ideas in there to have it be about more disclosure. Any insight on that topic?
Others say it would be, imperceptible. Where do you think it falls?
The reason you can tell it's not the flood cycle, it's the other cycle.
Oh, the cowboy hat. I just realized that. These guys? We watched the one with Roseanne. There's a bit in this that's so funny. Is it at the end? Right. I think I clipped this and put it on Twitter or whatever, but
Because you've been
they do this full chat for an hour, him and Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr has done a video call or podcast episode, whatever this is, with Gene Decode, Roseanne. Remember Roseanne? Watch this bit. He he wants to show her something at the end.
Interviewed John Trump, and I'm Donald Trump, and I'm like, oh no, I'm with Roseanne Barr.
Sorry.
John Trump, and I'm Donald Trump, and I'm like, oh no, I'm with Roseanne Barr.
Well, you gave me a great interview, and you're fun to talk to. I love you so much, Gene. Thank you for being a genius, baby.
And thank you for having me here, and thank you for hosting me, and I'll give you a free subscription for
Yay!
genedecode.org deep dive, so you can go and look around and see all of those beautiful things that the team's doing there. So
let's keep on. Let's do some more talking too. Bye, Gene.
let me share screen. You got 1 minute?
Yeah, he's got 1 minute still, Jake. He wants to share a screen. Oh.
Should I keep recording?
Mm-hmm.
You said shofar, so I thought.
Oh. Oh, he's going to blow the shofar. Yes, beautiful.
Beautiful.
He's blowing the shofar. It's beautiful.
All beings, life forces, thought forms, entities, assemblages, awarenesses, and all else that exists that do not have my highest interest and the highest interest of all life everywhere, and are not in the highest service of the one and only God of all creation in thought, form, mind, action, deed, and in all ways, and all artificial intelligence.
She wants to go. Roseanne wants to go, and he's like, "Can I show you something? I made this."
And all the technologies they use or that support them, and all else that is artificial life or artificial life forms not created by the one and only God of all creation, I demand all to leave my mind, spirit, bodies, soul, and all that I am on all levels, dimensions, densities, levels, and locations, now and forever. All permission to create and maintain attachments, influence from within or without in any way to cohabitate or possess, impart or in whole, to affect or defect in any way, or to feed off my energy, mind, spirit, bodies, anything that I am on any dimension, density, level, or location, to alter or change my thoughts, emotions, structure, genetics, anything I...
Now he said, do you have a minute? Okay. This is not a minute. Or maybe it... Let's see.
And forever removed. All contracts not in I now declare null and void. All emptiness, holes, vacancies, rips, tears, and injuries from this invocation, contract negation, and removal of artificial intelligences are now to be filled with the divine light of Holy Spirit, the word of the one and only God of all creation, and the protections, and all of this invoke compassion, love, light, and creation. The divine Holy Spirit.
Just when you think it's about to finish.
Only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, as it is said, done and sealed, now and for all time. God bless and Godspeed. Thank you, Roseanne. I thought you might like that as a close.
Thank you, Gene. Amen.
Amen, dear.
Beautiful.
Get this off.
Stops recording.
Isn't it amazing what you can find? Terms and conditions for the return of Christ. What was the hand signal? I guess that was in lockdown, when you could get access to famous people easier, right? Oh my goodness.